Why is the first project so successful that 70 out of 90 units have been sold in just half a year?
Every wealthy and well-off tourist who comes to Bali goes to Nusa Dua. Most of those hotels have an occupancy rate of about 75 to 85%.
Where do these numbers come from? Are they just made up?
In our case, Wyndham provided them. 65% of booking users said they are willing to pay more for experiences, especially artistic ones.
Documents, location, construction quality, not an installment plan for 2.5 years. If you pay all the money up front, then it's 7%. But it's not unique to True, it's for everyone.
And for True, yes.
Basel, after the hugely successful first project in Bali, you are now working on a second project. From your point of view, why was the first project so successful that 70 out of 90 units were sold in just 6 months? That's practically a record. What's the secret?
There are probably several components: the location, the operator, and probably also the very beautiful renderings and very well thought out layouts, among other things.
The team, the dedicated agents.
The team, I'm not just saying this, it's always most important. The agents, without them, this success wouldn't have happened either, of course.
TEUS company is 80 years old. You don't look 80. Explain.
I do look a bit younger, yes. Look, we used to be a Soviet company. It was founded after World War II, after Kharkiv was liberated from the fascist occupiers. Until 1991, the company was state-owned, and since 1991, it has been private. During Soviet times, the company mainly built administrative buildings, factories, schools, hospitals, and residential buildings. And since 1991, we've focused on building residential housing.
How did you get involved? Explain the story.
In 1991, my partner Dimitri's father made the company private. He was the general director. He was what they commonly refer to as a red director. And then, after some time, he made the company private. My father joined the company 15 years later, and I joined the company as one of the top managers in the year 2017, continuing in that role up to the year 2020. Now, my partner Dimitri and I are running the company ourselves.
So you have this kind of family business passed down through generations. It's really cool to be in the second generation. You've been working in Kharkiv for many years, for several decades. You also work in Turkey, Bali, and the Maldives.
Yes.
How is that possible? And how do you manage to do it?
With the right approach to organizing activities and selecting the right team, I think if you allocate a certain amount of time to each project, it turns out to be quite successful to manage all of this.
Are you personally involved in operational management everywhere? Do you control all the projects yourself?
In Ukraine, my partner Dmitry handles the management, and abroad, I am the CEO of the company.
And you work in Turkey, Bali, and the Maldives?
I have to fly a lot.
You have wonderful business trips. If you add Dubai and London to that, it would be absolutely amazing.
Yes, in Dubai, we plan to open an office at the beginning of next year after selling the Maldives project. So that's another location where I'll have to spend a lot of time.
You are now launching a second project?
We
are going to break it down now. I want to show the viewers why it's cool or not cool. Let's go through the same checklist. Here's the location. In Oman, it's Melasti. Obviously, it's very popular with everyone. Why did you choose Nosado?
Look, we wanted to build a hotel. We wanted to build a hotel with villas, which is quite important. But in Sadur, every affluent tourist who comes to Bali goes to Sadu. And there's a huge shortage of villas. If you look at the villas in hotels, they usually start at $500 per night, while our villa segment starts at $200 per night. Hotel rooms, the room stock in hotels, on the first line, it's already worn out, plus it's about 1.5 to 2 times more expensive. Even today, according to our financial model forecast, which will be in 2.5 to 3 years.
We'll talk about the financial model a bit later and go into detail about where these numbers and forecasts come from. But Sadua, I can confirm, is a really great area. It's already established, unlike, for example, Pandawa, which is more about future prospects. This is an area that is already popular, already in demand, and where the hotel room stock is truly old. If you go to the existing hotels, they're really quite worn out. Some have been around for 5, 7, even 10 years. Your project looks great, it's in a great location, and we've already discussed the location. Hotel operator?
The most well-known core brand of Wyndham is Ramada, and that's their main brand, Ramada by Wyndham. Wyndham, I think, is remembered and recognized by many for its distinctive red colors. People know it, they've stayed there. It's number one in its hotel segment worldwide. They have 850 hotels. At the moment, that's just Ramada alone.
I'm interested in your opinion and why you chose a major, well-known hotel operator. Because there's something like a holy war among agents and players in the market. Some say that having a brand is of course great, but it's not worth it because your operating costs are also higher. And others say the opposite. A brand adds appeal, tourists will come, it's better. They'd rather stay at a Ramada than at some no-name hotel that just has a pretty name. Why did you choose to work with a hotel operator and not with some local management company?
Often, fear comes from not knowing. People are afraid of things they don't understand. We didn't invent anything new, we just take what's already there. The best trends from other countries, for example, Dubai, Miami, and so on, we believe that the global trend right now is all about branded real estate. If you have branded real estate, it's worth more, it sells better, and it's more liquid. This trend probably first appeared in Miami, I think. There you have the Bentley Tower, Porsche Tower. And now we see that all the branded residences in Dubai are developing very rapidly. From fashion designers to Bugatti, Mercedes, Porsche, Ritz-Carlton residences, everyone is building them, and for good reason. They build residences because you can rent them out for more and sell them for a higher price. And they will always hold more value, especially when we're talking about investment real estate. Branded residences or hotels give the property more stability. For example, if it's just a regular management company, maybe they rent out the property for a year, then the next year something happens to them or the market situation changes. But with branded residences, you can be confident that for 15 to 20 years, they won't lose their charm. Even if you take, as we mentioned at the beginning, like if you look at Nassau, even the hotels there, for example, Hilton, if I'm not mistaken, opened in 1996, or a very, very long time ago. Yes, back in the late 90s. And to this day, the name Hilton still attracts people, and people keep coming there, no matter what. Although other non branded hotels in the same area, many of them have already closed down.
How systematic, large-scale, and long-term is your presence here in Bali?
Look, we don't consider regions. Of course, there can be different force majeure situations in different regions. In Bali, we see a very stable market. And we see that because the flow of tourists is only increasing every year. You know, where there are tourists, there will always be money, there will always be demand for investment real estate. That's why, if we don't see prospects for at least, say, 5 to 10 projects, we're simply not interested in spending our time and entering those markets.
The cost of the team is already a factor. You are buying expertise, analyzing, and building time. In other words, you are building a large network. Will it always be Ramada everywhere, or will it be case by case?
The first two projects with Ramada, I really liked the company. It's a very competent company developing quite rapidly, especially in Southeast Asia. Last year, they grew fourfold in Southeast Asia and continue to develop. Of course, we are also considering other companies and we'll keep looking. It's possible that the next projects will be with other companies as well.
Okay. What stage is your project at right now? Before filming, we exchanged a few words. You've sold just a little so far, and you're only now starting the project.
We literally started it just 4 days ago, and
Obviously, this is the most advantageous stage to invest in it.
we just had a launch event, which you attended 4 days ago. At this point, we've already sold 10% of the complex. And right now, of course, since the very best part is the pre-sale, there is an opportunity to get in and get the best units at the very best price.
Brands create recognition, increase capitalization, and allow for higher rental prices. Because if you compare a regular hotel and a hotel by Armada, it's obvious that the latter will rent for more. But at the same time, the expenses are also higher. What about the expense structure of the management company?
Look, our expenses at the moment, according to what we've received from the operator, are about 50%. But it's always important to understand. I always say, do you know what the difference is between Europe and America? In Europe, everyone is always thinking about how to save money, while Americans think about how to earn more. Considering that Wyndham is an American company, they think through every detail to maximize your earning potential. That's why a hotel operator always has higher occupancy rates by 20 to 30% compared to a non branded one. And the price is always 20 to 30% higher. Therefore, if we look at the absolute numbers, hotel operators generate more revenue and profit for end consumers.
What is included in the 50%?
Operating expenses, and these are the expenses for management companies.
And taxes.
What kind of taxes exactly? The taxes that are paid. No, look, our model has already been calculated. Our model is already calculated after taxes. If we see a price, for example, for the cheapest unit at $120, that's already after 10% taxes.
So it needs to be rented out at 10% more.
Yes, so that's a price of $130 minus 10%.
So in the end, the investor receives 50% of the revenue.
About 50%.
But we add another 10% tax to the revenue.
On the person's revenue? Yes.
On the revenue from the unit that we receive?
Yes.
Okay. So overall, after deducting all expenses, it will be about 56% expenses and 40, well,
5. If you count everything, it's a problem. Yes.
if you really count everything. In fact, top management companies, not even global or chain hotel operators, but just regular management companies that have been in Bali for 10 years on the market with a strong brand, they charge no less. So a good management company, a good operator, takes 50 to 55%. That's basically the market standard. If you do everything above board, and when you buy such a hotel, when you build it and an investor buys this kind of hotel, it's actually impossible to operate fully above board. That's obvious to everyone. We don't even consider any schemes where people buy a villa for themselves or the management company underpays taxes somewhere. We don't look at those options at all. So if you compare these expenses, they don't seem very large. But at the same time, in the management company, in the hotel empire, there's bureaucracy. Basically, you have a corporation that owns a chain of hotels, and each hotel has its own general manager and so on. So an investor can't simply come in and say, I want to change something in my room. Or, for example, I want to take it off the rental market. Or can they?
No.
They can't.
In fact, this is actually set up specifically in order to protect other investors for the benefit of others. If 10% of the hotel, I don't know, comes under the management of other people, it already disrupts the whole hotel system.
Dumping, quality issues, things like that. That
The quality drops. And for many, because a hotel is an integrated structure, right? A hotel isn't, just a hotel. It's not an opportunity to, let's say, exploit it. Like one part of the restaurant operates differently, or maybe another part is managed by a different management company. They'll be handling, I don't know, guest check-ins or, set up another counter at the lobby bar. That's just not possible.
As you know, that's our approach. We take on very few projects in general, and our requirements for developers and projects are quite high. And one of the key points is the management company, and it's actually one of the most important. Of course, after the quality of the documents is checked, those are all basic things. The management company, it's not just about having any management company, but about what kind of management company it is. We get to know the owners, we talk to their general manager, we look at their cases, we see what kind of results they have. And even if the management company here in Bali is an unknown name, but manages hundreds of properties and they take on thousands more over 2 or 3 years, everything that's being built ends up with them. So in the background, they probably have thousands. But before that, they managed only hundreds over the course of 10 years. So this kind of massive, rapid growth creates a huge risk for investors. So even if a management company is experienced and large, that doesn't mean it's good. At this moment, for this project. So your choice is in favor of a hotel operator with a century-long history of managing hotels, or at least some experience, at least some, since
2006.
well, that's quite a lot. 1,000 hotels around the world and a corporate structure. So that's more of a plus than a minus. All right, the financial model. Why will your properties be rented out?
Hotel rooms will start at about $120 per night.
Plus 10% taxes?
Yes.
Plus 10% service charge? Okay, occupancy rate.
75% throughout the period at 75%.
That's my favorite question. Where do these numbers come from? In our
Case they were provided by Wing. These are the numbers they expect to see in 2.5 years when the hotel opens. And these are the actual numbers they anticipate at that time, the real ones that will be rented out.
I knew the answer to this question, but for the record, of course, we needed to say it out loud. Yes, and actually, this is a very important factor because often when we look at our time in the business, we've reviewed hundreds. We've reviewed hundreds of these financial models from developers, and often the reasoning is, well, sort of
Most likely it's just a guess. Well,
because it's just a shot in the dark, really. That's why when your forecasts are provided by your world-class hotel operator who understands the business, and these aren't beginners, these are people who are specialists who analyze financial models professionally, not just guessing. But on the other hand, 75% occupancy is also quite an optimistic figure. Based on what? How do they justify that?
Well, mostly the justification is, as far as I know, they analyze the area, the Musado district. You know it, right? Most of these hotels have an occupancy rate of about 75 to 85%. Plus, of course, there's the potential for growth of tourism in general in the region.
The management company is responsible for the developer's ROI, responsible for safeguarding the investments. So if we look at it from the investor's perspective, I'm speaking as an investor here. First, I want to make sure I don't lose my money, that it's safe. And second, I want to earn a profit. So in this case, the management company, specifically the hotel operator, is responsible for ensuring that the investor receives ROI, how to rent it out, at what price, how to fill the rooms, and so on.
By the way, I wanted to add about Wyndham hotels. There are several hotels in Seminyak and also on Sunset Road that are currently reaching up to 80% occupancy, even though these hotels are already over 30 years old.
Over 30 years under their management.
Yes.
That's actually a very good indicator because after 30 years, they must have done some renovations by now. Yes.
Renovation, I can't say they're in the best possible shape because they get renovated every 10 or 15 years.
But 30 years?
They have an 80% occupancy rate at the moment. Both at Semyaki and at Sensory, it's about 80.
That's an excellent result. So, coming back to the topic, the management company is responsible for the investor's ROI, while the developer is responsible for asset preservation. Asset preservation consists of several aspects. Land, location. If you build a hotel in the wrong location, even if it's a great one, then it will be an illiquid asset, it won't be rented out, and so on. That is, a person might end up freezing their money and won't even be able to resell later. Documents, location, construction quality. So let's go through them one by one. We've already discussed the location. What about the documents? What do you have? What kind of land is it? Pink, I suspect.
It's pink land, 30 plus 30 years extension guaranteed.
Super. PBG, you haven't applied yet.
We've applied for the PBG. Hopefully, within 2 weeks, the wallet and the dossier will be ready. On the code.
PBG. For the previous project, you received the PBG.
Got the PBG in record time, in just 4.
You received it much faster than you were originally supposed to get it, which was quite unexpected.
A month and a half faster.
That's impressive.
Mitya, if we look at the general situation, if we look at the market from what we've heard, many people get it in 8 or 9 months. That's considered very good.
Some people don't get it.
Some people just never get it. Yes, so I think that compared to the market, we got it 1.5 to 2 times faster than the average.
That's amazing, it really is. You know, when you're a new player on the market, even with 80 years of experience, but it's your first project, everyone is watching to see if you'll mess up or succeed. You guys
had to do everything right.
We even had to do it better than just right. So that's great. I mean, in terms of the paperwork, everything is clear, everything is good. The next question, the quality of construction.
As you know, we work with a very good and competent company. That company is Atmosfera. They've been building in Bali for quite a long time. They have a large client service department. They act as the client representative. We also have a client service department. That's why there's a very competent tender process to select the best contractors, including those who have built hotel properties. And a smart, systematic approach to project management.
But for now,
we have our own company, our own team, which also acts as technical supervision. They are involved in the operational management of the construction. So this kind of tandem probably leads to successful implementation.
But for now, just a couple of days ago at Mila, I was telling you, I flew a drone, specifically flew over to you to see what's happening there at the very beginning, at the earliest stage.
Construction starts on September 1st.
Until then,
it's literally 2 weeks away.
There's nothing there yet in terms of quality, nothing is clear yet. As for the atmosphere, you guys did a great job, that's obvious. But as for the quality of the construction, we'll find out after some time.
I think that we usually allocate about 8 to 9 months for the building shell. I think that in 8 to 9 months, it will already be visible and you can come and check it out yourself.
For the first project?
Yes.
But we already want to buy the second project now. How can we make sure of the construction quality?
I really get the sense that the same teams will be working on it. You can actually check this earlier, of course, during the construction process. You can already see how we approach the construction. If you've seen it, everything is systematized, everyone is wearing helmets, everything is done properly. We've already purchased the formwork. So, in principle, you can already look at this construction site and understand our approach, even now, based on the current data.
What other control factors are there? I know that the hotel operator is supposed to monitor you.
Wyndham comes to inspect literally just a week ago, and unfortunately, I wasn't in Bali. Our head of partner sales, Artem, went there and gave tours both at the office and on site. We were actually recording content where they come to visit and they check the construction every 3 months. They come to inspect all the technical specifications and look at the site itself.
As far as I know, it's not just the technical documents. So Wyndham is like another layer of oversight for the investor, an extra level of control above you, above the developer.
Yes,
Okay. How meticulous are they? How closely do they keep you in check? Well,
they check all the layouts and plans very thoroughly. That's true. They check everything very thoroughly, very meticulously. They look, they analyze, and only after they approve everything, I'm speaking hypothetically here. So once we agreed on all the plans with them, they made us add a service elevator. For example, we had to install a service elevator, and because of that, we had to change the layouts a bit. There are definitely aspects where they work through the details quite thoroughly to ensure it's a good complex.
but things like fire exits, parking, compliance with regulations, and so on. So for the first project, you received the PBG, which is a very serious stage of government oversight. You got the go-ahead and proof from Wyndham that everything is fine. They check the documentation and what you're building, where you are, how you're building, what documents you have, and so on.
And
There is an atmosphere of pain, which is basically your general contractor, de facto, the general contractor or project management, whatever they call their service. And then there's your technical supervision as well. And in addition to that, there's also someone overseeing aesthetics.
system control.
That's true. All these elements. This creates a precedent so that even if you want to mess something up somewhere, you won't be able to because you have 5 control mechanisms. One is you and 4 are external, all working to ensure the construction meets all quality standards. But the most important thing is Ramada, which is a huge global brand that people trust. So your strategy is to take a strong, powerful player, a huge, strong brand that is already like a black hole, a magnetic force that attracts tourists, investors, trust, and quality. Super. Sounds really good. Tell us about your project, why is it cool, and why will it be successful on the market?
Look, first of all, I would still emphasize that it's the operator. Second is the location, and third are the layouts themselves. They are very successful, very well designed. They are not expensive, but they are highly competitive on the market. And because of that, you get a good market. And
What about the prices? If we're talking about apartments and villas, let's put it this way.
hotel rooms start from 104,900, villas start from 160,900.
You said the apartments would be rented out for $120 in 2.5 years. At the end of the line, villas.
From 180. 180. This is it. We took a very conservative scenario. We asked right away for a conservative scenario. Villas, I think you can rent them out for even more.
Is this really conservative? Because
Willem, I think it's conservative.
at the moment, we are looking at the current situation on the market. And now, this year, there are tourism records again. Bali is definitely on trend. And unless something like a coronavirus or something of that sort happens, some kind of upheaval, Bali keeps attracting tourists. Everyone is coming here. It's really awesome here. Even just now, you and I were stuck in traffic for a while. But you still put up with these things because tomorrow you're going to Ubud to relax. Tomorrow you're going to Malasti to sunbathe on the beach. In other words, the magic of this island still draws you in. Tourists keep coming here no matter how crowded it gets. And Bukit is just starting to develop. We see quite a lot of construction in this area, but not, say, tens of thousands of units. People often have this perception about Bali. Now they're going to build skyscrapers there. Very few, actually.
In fact, we analyzed the planning day. And in general, basically, the reason why enough properties can't be built in Bali is that there will always be too few of them. because the permitted building height here is up to 15 meters, so only 4 to 5 story buildings can be constructed. For example, if you compare it even with Thailand, as far as I know, there you can generally build at least up to 10 stories, if I'm not mistaken.
If it's the islands, yes. On the mainland, it's even more so.
You can build up to 10 stories, and because of that, of course, there would be a lot more units, and I see that as a plus point.
Second, there are no reliable, responsible, large construction companies. So basically, you come there and you can't just build 5,000 units. It's very difficult to do that. Even major players, even if you have unlimited funds, it's impossible. There's just a bottleneck. The land is limited, and it's the same for both you and us. We've looked at a lot of land plots, and we keep looking. There is very little land suitable for construction in the right location and for a reasonable price. So to have everything line up for a project, it's quite hard to find land, hard to find someone to build, and it's difficult because there are height restrictions and other regulations. So here I agree with you that in principle, the amount of new construction, it is not enough to offset the next two factors. The first factor is the loss of the old room stock. That is, when everyone says like 1,000 rooms, well, somewhere per year, we also looked into it. According to reports, 3,500 units were commissioned in Bali last year. Well, this includes everything, both housing for locals, housing for tourists, and investment properties. So basically, according to the registries, it's only 3,500 units in total. A unit means an apartment, villa, or townhouse. 3,000, 3,500 new housing units, but no one counts the loss of old housing because a villa built 5 years ago without waterproofing becomes uninhabitable in 5 years and leaves the rental market. That's why now, as every year, I start looking for a place to live for the winter almost half a year in advance, about 4 months ahead, and it's hard to find something for a reasonable price. Finding good housing is a big challenge. Accordingly, there isn't much new construction happening. It's not enough, and the old housing is becoming uninhabitable. More than a hectare of land, both in terms of infrastructure and the amenities of the hotel itself.
According to the operator's requirements, we have everything: a restaurant, a spa, a gym, a large lobby, in principle, everything.
Human, normal, one that won't be truly.
Not the operators based on the number of keys. Now the amenities are being filled accordingly. IRU in the top.
Here you in the top, panoramic sunset view.
Ocean view, yes.
Ocean view, that's great. What makes it unique besides the hotel operator and the location? What's unique about the concept?
We have an art hotel. We've signed a contract with a renowned Singaporean gallery, so each of our rooms will feature a unique and original art piece. In fact, there will be individual paintings and carefully selected art objects displayed throughout the Tomsk property.
How significant do you think that is?
We analyzed this, and in fact, 65% of booking users said they are willing to pay more for an experience, especially for artistic experiences. That's why we think this will affect both occupancy rates and the unit price.
What else is in the concept besides the art hotel? What kind of style is it?
The main thing is the art hotel. Our style is closer to Balinese God.
But not exactly
With minimalism,
full-on Balinese.
it's a mix of prayer, minimalism, and Balinese style.
As for the target audience for rentals,
It will be young families and solo travelers.
we did a stress test across regions,
Across the regions. Considering that it's a fragrance, I think the audience will be very diverse.
and their audience isn't just, Europeans over there or Asians in Asia. They really have a truly global audience.
In all 95 countries.
95 is a lot. Very good. Who financed it? We
We have our own funding. We also attracted outside investment from time to time. We have some long term, very loyal clients who have already invested in the project as well.
So, am I right in understanding that you chose the right location? This is already your second project. We can look at the first one to see how you operate. You get the construction permit, you start construction, select contractors. If the hotel operator is joining you for a second project, that's also a factor, right? That's a huge plus for you. You chose the right location, the right hotel operator, and clearly nailed the concept. The project is great, beautiful. There's funding, all the documents are in order, and the land is zoned for hotels. What are the downsides of the project? So,
What's the catch? So,
what's the catch? And the price. the price isn't high. That is, for hotel operators, there are only a few players on the market. Only a few developers have gone into this with major hotel operators, so it's not mainstream yet. And let's add another point. The 5 levels of control that we counted together. 1 is yours and 4 others.
Honestly, I think I'd rather hand over questions like that to you. So,
What's the catch?
if there's a catch, I'd leave that for you to answer. I think that's something people from the outside should say. Look,
So far, based on the initial signs from our analysis and the conversations we've had, the project really is great, promising, and reliable. Because, let me remind you, we have 2 main factors for an investor. The first is to preserve your investment. We've already figured that part out. And the second is profitability, getting ROI. What kind of ROI do you see in these forecasts?
it's about 14%.
That is 14% at the current price point, which is the value as of now. At the current price you have now,
The purchase price
the purchase price at the moment, at the lowest price, because in a year the price will already be higher since the stage.
of construction. Yes, as of today. If we're talking about the most successful stage of the year for any investor, it's the pre-sale. And
Roman confirms this forecast. So they set their vision that they
make a forecast. How do they do it? They provide their price range, which could be in this area, in this hotel, in 2.5 to 3 years.
well, obviously they can't give a guarantee, but their forecasts.
The hotel opening is scheduled for 2028. Their forecast is that in 2028, for example, hotel rooms and villas. Villas will be rented out for about $180 to $200. A villa will be rented out and a hotel room will be rented for about $120.
We talked about your idea that you want to lock in the prices, not to do some mega sale later on. Raising the price, raising. Will these prices stay? Or is that decision not made yet?
No, we will raise the price. We just won't do it, say, within a month. Because after all, we see that people aren't making decisions that quickly. They need time to look, to analyze. And, it's really unpleasant sometimes when a client saw the price, say, in March, and then in April it went up. Because of that, it's already psychologically hard for the client to commit. That's why we want to extend this period a little, because people are taking a bit more time to make decisions so that it's within reasonable limits. There will definitely be an increase, but we want it to be within reasonable bounds.
Let's put it this way. The price increase will happen at noticeable stages of construction, even say not at the off-plan stage anymore, but for example, when the building reaches the first floor.
I think most likely yes, but I can't and don't want to say it on camera. No guarantees, but most likely that
Will happen. So right now, at this moment, these are the most favorable terms you can get in on. What can we offer our listeners that's truly unique? Units.
starting at 105,000 and villas starting at 170. Plus, next week we'll be launching some interesting units with a slightly larger layout for the one bedroom villas and at an attractive price if you convert it to proportionally.
I'm trying to get some kind of unique offer from you. Is this
A unique offer? Is this absolutely really?
an amazing person? How many times have we brought up these questions with you and you've never, not once, given me anything? I've asked you so many times, do you refuse everyone like this, or is it just me?
Of course, everyone.
But actually, that's a really cool factor that
No, we can talk about some small discounts for volume. We can say that for some clients, like Bald Guy gets a discount starting from 3 units. There might be some small ones.
or if we gather a pool for, say, 1,023,000 conditionally, that would be a noticeable, significant volume. Everyone has that, basically, all the tasks.
I mean, not like bringing in 1 million people. Just give a discount so that it's somehow better for the customer, like for a certain volume.
Let's think about this for the first time in our lives. Maybe we'll get something out of it besides just. But actually, that's a good thing, because a common situation developers face, and we encounter this a lot, is say there are 100,000 units, just to make the math easier. So there are 100,000 offers, and for all of them, the price is 100,000. An investor buys, and then another investor comes along and starts blackmailing, making threats. Threatening in what way? Like, well, I won't buy unless you give me a discount. And then the developer lowers their value, undermines the value of the agent's work. The value of the project itself drops, and they end up agreeing to these discounts. The first client finds out about this and feels as if they've been deceived, as if they're the loser in this situation. The fact that you don't push too hard that you don't pressure us, hopefully not just with us, but in general. That's good. So based on volume, we can get some special terms that are needed.
For the volume of a new client's purchase, a small discount can be discussed.
Fully cash, for example, right? Cash.
We have that at the moment. A 7% discount for full cash payment.
Okay, so it's not an installment plan for 2.5 years. If you pay the full amount upfront, it's 7%. But it's not unique to True, it's for everyone.
And for True as well.
And for True as well. Well, all right. I like your firmness. I'm kind of, straightforward. We probably meet with you every Thursday. Probably the fifth time we bring up similar topics, and you've never given in. That's good. That's good. What would you like to add that we haven't mentioned, but you think is important?
Actually, there are a lot of projects appearing on the market right now. I think for an investor, it's important to choose the right agency, of course. I like your approach that you don't just take on everyone. I know 4 different people called me. It turned out that through 4 different people, you were checking our reliability, how we work, especially through your colleagues in the industry. And thank God everyone confirmed it. Only after that did you take us on. That's why I believe that for an investor in this market, it's absolutely necessary to choose a partner who understands the entire market landscape, where there are profitable offers and where perhaps there aren't any, and which product will be in demand. As I've already said, I believe that branded residences are, after all, the future of any real estate worldwide, and especially the future here, Bali. As I've already mentioned, many people don't understand this and many are afraid of it. How do you understand what they're afraid of? People are afraid of what they don't understand. I can already see this trend even after us. I know that more than one developer has started thinking about this after us.
Are they thinking about it or already doing it?
Some people are actively trying to do it, some are just considering it, but they're already thinking about it somewhere in their minds, even if only subconsciously. We're not afraid of competition. God willing, let the market become more stable, more robust, and more interesting. Because, after all, I truly believe that the main goal for developers in Bali is not just to make money or to earn a profit, but to bring people here, to attract tourists from all over the world, and to share the unique beauty and culture of this island with them. The focus is on creating opportunities for visitors, encouraging tourism, and making Bali a more welcoming and vibrant destination for everyone, including, let's say, giving tourists the opportunity to live in great locations, in cool apartments, or even, I would say, in hotel rooms or villas, so that Bali in general becomes more popular. I think that's our main global goal for everyone involved in this.
I agree with you. Essentially, all the participants in this business, the developer, or rather the landlord, then the developer and the construction company, the real estate agency, and the investor, all of this is, so to speak, the supporting infrastructure for the tourist. So that in the end, the tourist comes, enjoys the experience, has a great time, gives a 10-star review, and leaves happy. In other words, we're all working to create great products here that will last for many decades.
100%, exactly.
That's the essence of the business. Thank you very much for the information. If you're interested in this project, leave an application and our investment broker will contact you and provide a qualified consultation. All the projects we take on for sale, you pointed this out very well, there were more than 4 people through whom we conducted our background checks. Indeed, we check everything very strictly and very thoroughly. We vet every counterparty we start working with, and some of our checks take at least 3 months, while others can last up to 15 months. At the moment, some of our checks have been ongoing for 15 months, and we still haven't approved them. That's why TEUS is such a great company. The projects the guys are working on, we really like them. And when I first saw the ammonia presentation, I said, this is one of the best projects I've ever seen. Because everything there is just perfect. We have projects where 50% of people say it's brilliant and 50% say, well, how is this nonsense? But not a single person, not a single investor in terms of visuals, concept, or positioning, hotel operators, and so on. No one has said they don't like it. And that's truly your talent. You've created a product that absolutely everyone likes. It's as if there's some kind of checklist. In fact, we do have a checklist with 140 items. How to do it, what an ideal project should be like. It feels like you matched everything on that checklist. You've really created an awesome product. And not just at the concept stage, but already at the implementation stage, documentation, construction, and so on. So if you're interested, fill out an application and a qualified specialist will contact you. Thank you very much.